What is this power I feel? Is it faith or is it fate? I have never faced anything like this in my life. The air in the small plane was thick with anticipation as it cut through the skies above India. William Branham, a man who had already seen the miraculous unfold in countless lives, felt something he couldn't quite explain. He was used to healing the sick, raising the fallen, and guiding thousands to salvation, but this was different. This was uncharted territory, with a line between faith and doubt blurred in the most unusual ways. And as he gazed out the window, seeing the vast expanse of the Indian subcontinent stretch below him, his mind raced. What lay ahead in this ancient land, where gods and religions held sway over the hearts of millions? Would his mission here succeed, or would the very forces he had spent his life fighting against turn on him? And here's the thing, this story is only the beginning. If you want more heart-pounding, scroll of saints and faith-fueled stories of bravery, sacrifice, and devotion, don't wait. Subscribe now, because the next chapter might just be the one you can't put down. William Branham was a man accustomed to power. He had witnessed the blind see, the lame walk, and the brokenhearted healed in the name of the Almighty. Yet, as his plane touched down on the soil of India, a country steeped in ancient traditions and religious rituals, he felt an eerie presence. The crowd that gathered at the airport was unlike any he had seen before. These were not just any people. They were spiritual leaders, mystics, and representatives of the many religions that held sway over the subcontinent. Hindu priests in vibrant robes, Buddhist monks in quiet meditation, and Muslim leaders in their traditional attire all stood in the crowd, their eyes fixed on Branham, some in awe, some in skepticism, and a few in open hostility. Branham knew that India was a land of great spiritual depth, but he had never been met with such strong energy from those who worshiped different gods. There was a tension in the air, an invisible war for the soul of this country. As he stepped onto the tarmac, the weight of the moment hung heavy. He had come to heal, to preach, to offer salvation to all who would listen. But would he be able to stand against the ancient powers that ruled this land? A few days after his arrival, Branham was invited to meet with some of India's most influential religious leaders. Among them was an enigmatic figure, a man known as Swami Rajesh, a highly revered Hindu spiritual leader with a large following. His teachings had shaped the spiritual lives of thousands, if not millions, across India. Rajesh was known for his mystical practices and claims of supernatural powers. He had cured the sick and performed feats that many attributed to the divine. His followers believed he was a living God on earth. When Branham met Rajesh, the air seemed to crackle with tension. The two men, though polite, were immediately aware of the ideological and spiritual chasm between them. Rajesh spoke of the many gods and the power of meditation, while Branham, with unwavering confidence, spoke of the one true God and the power of Jesus Christ to heal and deliver. "I have heard of you, Mr. Branham," Rajesh said, his voice smooth but with a challenging edge. "But you must understand, in India, we do not simply heal with words. We heal with ancient power, passed down through the ages. We do not believe in one God, but in the many forces that shape the universe." Branham felt his spirit stir. This man wasn't just offering philosophical differences. He was offering an entirely different worldview, one that was in direct opposition to everything Branham stood for. "I have seen the power of God at work," Branham replied, his eyes narrowing. "And I know that there's only one God, the creator of all, the healer of all." The exchange felt like a battle of wills, two forces, two beliefs locked in silent conflict. Branham couldn't help but wonder, could he overcome the ancient beliefs of millions? Could his faith in one true God dismantle the towering influence of man like Swami Rajesh? The following day, Branham was invited to witness a grand spiritual ceremony led by Rajesh, an event that would bring together people from all walks of life in the hopes of gaining blessings from the gods. The ceremony was grand, filled with the chanting of mantras, the burning of incense, and the rhythmic drumming of sacred instruments. As Branham entered the space, the vibrant colors and the sounds overwhelmed him. It was in that moment that Branham realized the depth of his mission. He had always preached healing, but in India, he would have to fight for something greater, the very foundation of truth itself. As the ceremony began, Branham stood silently in the crowd, watching the people offer their prayers and meditations to the many gods. The air seemed thick with devotion, but Branham felt a deep stirring in his soul, a sense of something more. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the air. A woman in the crowd fell to the ground, convulsing violently, her body racked with pain. A ripple of shock ran through the people, and Rajesh stepped forward, ready to perform a ritual to heal her. But Branham felt a powerful surge of faith rise within him. He stepped forward, his voice loud and steady, cutting through the chanting and confusion. "In the name of Jesus Christ, be healed." The crowd fell silent as Branham knelt beside the woman. He placed his hands on her trembling body, and for a brief moment, the world stood still. Then, a miraculous thing happened. The woman stopped convulsing. Her body went still, and she opened her eyes, her pain gone. Gasps of astonishment rippled through the crowd. The Hindu priests, the monks, the people who had watched in awe, now looked at Branham in shock. Rajesh, standing nearby, wore an expression of disbelief. In that moment, Branham understood. This was not just a battle of ideologies. This was a battle for the very souls of those present. Would they turn to the living God who had just performed a miracle? Or would they stay in the comforting embrace of the many gods they had known their whole lives? The news of Branham's miracle spread like wildfire through the region. What had been a quiet, almost academic discussion about religious differences now turned into something much more dangerous. The power structures that had held sway in India for centuries, religious leaders, mystics, and spiritual guides, began to question their own beliefs. How could one man, with so little power in comparison, wield such a force that it could defy the very spiritual laws they had revered for generations? In the days that followed, Branham was faced with increased opposition. The religious leaders, sensing a shift in the spiritual atmosphere, began to rally against him. They called him a fraud, a charlatan, a foreigner who had no place challenging their sacred beliefs. But Branham remained undeterred. He knew that the power of God was stronger than anything they could throw at him, and he continued his mission, speaking to the people, healing the sick, and preaching the message of salvation. The situation grew tense. The religious opposition intensified, and Branham found himself in a spiritual battle unlike any he had faced before. But the power of God was undeniable. People came to him from all over India, some desperate for healing, others curious about the man who could perform such miracles. And slowly, a change began to take root. Branham's message was spreading, not through the force of his words, but through the undeniable evidence of divine power at work. One day, as Branham stood before a crowd of thousands, he felt something shift in the air. It was as if the very forces that had held this land captive for centuries were beginning to falter. The crowd was no longer divided by their religious beliefs. They were united by something greater. Hope, faith, a sense that there was a power greater than anything they had ever known. As Branham departed from India, he looked back at the land that had tested him in ways he could never have anticipated. The lesson was clear. True power does not come from religious rituals or the worship of idols. It comes from faith in the one true God, who transcends all earthly limitations. And when that power is unleashed, nothing, no amount of opposition, no matter how powerful, can stand against it. Branham's journey in India had not only changed the lives of many, but it had also changed him. He had seen firsthand the power of God to move even the hardest hearts, to heal the deepest wounds, and to transform a land steeped in ancient beliefs. This story is not just about William Branham and his mission in India. It is about you. It is about the power of faith in the face of opposition, the courage to stand for what you believe, and the transformative power of God that can change lives, no matter where you are in the world. If you're feeling the weight of the world pressing against you, remember that the power to overcome is already within you. Just as Branham faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious, so can you. Take a step of faith today, believe in the impossible, and watch as the world around you transforms. If you want to hear more incredible stories of faith, strength, and transformation, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Share this story with your friends and loved ones, and let's spread hope, courage, and faith to the world. Thank you for taking this journey with us. Remember, the impossible is possible with faith. Stay tuned for more stories that will inspire, motivate, and push you to reach beyond the limits of your imagination. Subscribe now, and don't miss out on more incredible stories that will change your life.